Hi there! In this demo, I discuss the various three-way data protection solutions offered by NetApp. To sustain operations in the event of a disaster with minimal data loss, a company needs 3 data centers, 2 located close to one another, with a third located outside the region containing the other 2. In general, the primary and secondary data centers within the region synchronously or asynchronously replicate data between themselves, while either the primary or secondary storage only asynchronously replicates data to the remote or tertiary out-of-region data center. Let's briefly review the different models used. This is a classic example of a cascaded model that provides better availability across all 3 layers. Here, the primary and secondary data centers asynchronously replicate data between themselves with very minimal data loss and recovery time. The secondary site asynchronously replicates data to the tertiary site, which could be in a different state, country, or geo, with an RPO and RTO of hours or even days. It is important to note that the model is only suitable for enterprises that do not require a 0 RPO for either the near or far DR data center. This layout is an example of a cascaded model with both synchronous and asynchronous replication. In this example, the production volumes are synchronously protected in the secondary DR data center with SnapMirror synchronous replication and are further asynchronously protected in the tertiary DR data center with SnapMirror asynchronous. In the event of a complete disaster at the primary site, the second data center could be made available within a few minutes with 0 data loss. The production application that was failed over to the secondary data center can continue to take over asynchronous replication to the tertiary data center without any disruption. This economic DR model is considerably the best solution for small or mid-sized financial institutions or heavy industries because it doesn't mandate dedicated high-bandwidth switches for synchronous replication, nor does it force customers to protect the entire production site. This layout is a classic example of a fan-out model with both synchronous and asynchronous replication. In this example, the production volumes are synchronously protected to the secondary DR data center, as well as asynchronously protected to the tertiary DR data center using SnapMirror. In the event of a complete disaster at the primary site, the production applications can be recovered at the secondary near the DR data center with 0 data loss. The only difference between the cascaded and fan-out models is that the fan-out model cannot not automatically take over asynchronous replication from the secondary to the tertiary data center. Therefore, the third copy is unusable. In such cases, a rebaseline is required. However, with NetApp, a delta resync can be performed on volumes from the secondary to tertiary with the help of common snapshots at both ends to sync the delta from the secondary DC to the tertiary DC so that the tertiary protection is preserved. This is an example of a fan-out model which offers a 0 RPO and 0 downtime across the metro region. The primary and secondary sites are synchronously protected at the aggregate level like a stretched storage cluster using Metro Cluster, while the tertiary site is asynchronous replicated from either Site A or Site B at the storage virtual machine level using SVM-dr. Metro Cluster is an array-based, active-active clustered solution that eliminates the need for complex failover scripts, server reboots, or application restarts. Metro Cluster maintains its identity in the event of a failure, and thus provides application transparency in switchover and switchback events. In fact, most Metro Cluster customers report that their users experience no application interruption when a cluster recovery takes place. Metro Cluster provides the utmost flexibility, integrating seamlessly into any environment with support for mixed protocols. There are 2 models. The fiber channel model can support a distance up to 300 kilometers, and the IP model can support distances up to 700 kilometers with a maximum RTT latency of 10 milliseconds. If a customer is using VMware for mission-critical applications, then they can use VMware Site Recovery Manager with a NetApp storage replication adapter for instant VM and application failover, along with Metro Cluster or SnapMirror for near DR data center recovery. With Metro Cluster, the VMs, along with the storage, are synchronously migrated or recovered on Site B with no data loss. However, in the case of SnapMirror, data replication is asynchronous and thus allows minor data loss. In the absence of SRM, customers can leverage vSphere HA along with MetroCluster or SnapMirror for instant failover. We have thus far analyzed all the various three-way DR models. Let's get into the requirements for a three-way DR along with a short demo in my next video.